It is customary to say a blessing at a place where our parents were saved from certain death. And we are right now at the place where my mother's and my mother's family's life was saved. So the blessing is Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'oso nisim lavoteinu bayomim hahem bamakom hazeh. We are here right now at Yad Vashem for a very special reason. My entire family wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the lady whose name is memorialized here as righteous among the nations. My name is Leslie Gabor. I was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1953, and my original name in Hungarian is Gabor Laszlo. I like to think of myself in my Hebrew name, Avram Yaakov. Many people who are survivors of the Holocaust, whether they were in the concentration camps or outside the camps, don't talk about it to their children. Bottled up and don't talk about it. My parents were totally the opposite. My father also wrote a book, And Tell Your Children, about his experience, and that book is actually right here in the library of Yad Vashem. As a little child, my mother was talking about how grateful she was to Mrs. Paulik. My grandfather worked for a leather manufacturing company. The owner of the leather manufacturing company decided to help them hide. Her full name in Hungarian is Paulik Ferencné Szigeti Juliana. They actually found a hiding place in a warehouse. The warehouse was owned by the company. It was in an apartment building across the street from the entrance to the ghetto. At that place, they were able to hide for more than 9 months. She lived in an area called Újpest. It's the suburb of Budapest, and she would come in every single day to bring them food and to bring them sustenance. It was very difficult for her, and she risked her life a great deal to do this. When the Germans finally occupied Hungary in March of 1944, they took up headquarters at the Astoria Hotel, hiding in plain sight basically, just a block away from the Nazi headquarters. Their window, it was darkened, but they had a small little opening, a little peephole in that darkening, where they were able to see the great synagogue, which is Dohain Synagogue. Bodies were piled up in the courtyard. Also, she was able to witness as they were marching Jews towards the Danube. Right now, there's a memorial there of the shoes of the Danube. Some police officers, they wanted to inspect the place. So she slowly opened the lock, but dropped the key several times, and then all of a sudden, she had the idea, you know what? Why don't you come down and we'll fit you for some coats, and we'll make some coats for you. This was kind of a bribe. Religious Roman Catholics, they believed in saving lives. We can all take a lesson from that. The Soviet army came to liberate Budapest. When my parents got married, a lot of people who weren't even invited to the wedding came to the wedding. They wanted to see a wedding where parents are alive. My father's parents were killed in Auschwitz. The other person on the other side of my mother was Mrs. Paulik. My mother honored her to sit next to her at the wedding. Her name is Juliana, which is Julie. My sister Julie was named after her because of the great respect that my mother had for her.
My earliest memories as a child, when I was probably around 4 years old, were my regular visits to Paulik Neni. At least once a month, my mother would grab my hand and say, "We are going to visit Paulik Neni today." And on the way to her house, she would tell me the story of how she saved her and her family's lives. My mother was a great storyteller, and each time I listened to her story as if it was for the first time I heard it. And each time I became very emotional and cried. She also explained to me that I was named after Paulik Neni and that it was a great honor to be named after such a special person. I only vaguely remember the apartment where Paulik Neni lived, but I vividly remember her, and especially her kind, sweet smile as she leaned over and kissed me every time we visited. And when I look at her children's and grandchildren's photos today, I recognize that same smile in their faces. I not only owe Polikneni my own life, but my entire family's. She will never be forgotten and will be in our memories forever.
1948, right after they got married, the communists took over. The next chance we had to leave Hungary was in 1965, and even at that time we had to escape. At that time, my mother lost touch with the family. Thanks to the internet, I was able to find Mrs. Pollock's granddaughters, and to my delight, they were happy to be in touch with me. We decided to meet at Keleti train station, Keleti pályaudvar. That's where my family got on the train to leave Hungary in 1965.
I knew about the story, so as a child I have heard that a lot. You have to know that I was born in the socialism, so at the time of the communist regime. So we have heard different at home and different at school. And we always knew that what we heard at home, that's only for home. This story was one of these, which we knew we shouldn't talk about that. She had a very good, mi az a könyvelő? Bookkeeper. And she loved the family very much. And when the Second World War came, all the Jewish people were in danger. Then she made up that she won't let that happen. What, as a child, I could remember that there was a telephone. So nobody should take the telephone during the day, except if my grandmother wanted to tell them something, then she rang the bell once and take down. So, and then twice, and then up to 10, and backwards to 1, and then they could take it, the phone.
That's a code.
That's the code, yes, take the code.
I never heard this story.
No?
This part I didn't hear, no.
Hysterically, someone of the person said we shouldn't sleep in front of the window. They have put their beds backwards. And at night there was a bombing, and this huge window broke, and everywhere in the floor there were glass pieces. So if they have slept there, maybe more of them wouldn't live. Have you heard that?
I heard, and it was a Christmas Day 1944. Okay. The city was bombed, and my mother slept through the whole thing. She slept, and the whole family came to her, and they were afraid that she died, and they shook her up, and she said, "Why are you waking me up? I was sleeping."
Only my grandmother knew about this situation. No one else in the family, nor my grandfather, my father, uncle. They were only 2 boys. The less they know, the better it is. She was a very smart woman, I think, and
very brave.
Very brave.
You know, when we moved, when we came in the mid-60s, you couldn't make a phone call.
No.
There was no internet. You had to call an overseas operator, and the operator connected you, and they had to listen to every conversation over here. It was like censored. Grandma sent letters to her parents and to Clary. Every week she sent a letter.
Really?
Every week, and they sent a letter every week. But you didn't get the letter for 2 weeks. So she sent or more. So she sent a letter asking a question, and the answer came back 4 weeks later. But in the meanwhile, she got all the letters because they were sending letters every week. My grandfather sat down every Sunday afternoon, and he wrote a big letter every Sunday afternoon. I still have them. I have them in the box, all the letters for 20 years. My aunt, Clary, every letter started like this. Tudom, disznó vagyok. I I know I'm a pig for not writing more often. Krista, servus. Hi.
Hi, so nice to meet
you.
you.
Do you adore
nice
it?
Yes, and Marianne is my granddaughter.
A lot of Jewish people don't talk about their experiences. They came out of it and they don't tell their children, their grandchildren, they're afraid. And now we're coming to a point where if people don't know, it's too late.
Yes. A nagymamám neve Szigeti Julianna. Meghatónak találom, hogy Gábor Laci megkeresett minket, és a nagymamámtól saját magától nem hallottam sokat, illetve nem is emlékszem rá, mert 6 éves voltam, amikor meghalt. De amit hallottam így a családból, a 3 lány közül, akik ott voltak a Weiss családban, nagymamám egész különösen szerette a Zsuzsát, a Laci mamáját. Tehát a nagymamám római katolikus vallású volt, és gyakorolta a vallását, és nagyon vallásos volt. Szerintem nem ezért tette ezt, amit tett, hanem emberbaráti szeretetből. Engem ez büszkeséggel is tölt el, és egy fantasztikus dolognak tartom, hogy ezt megtette, és nagyon örülök, hogy felvettük a kapcsolatot. Valahogy számomra így bezárul egy kör, minden a helyére kerül, ezáltal a nagymamám története is, és a családotok története is.
Yad Vashem is a Holocaust Memorial Center. The Holocaust Center has basically 2 main functions. One is the remembrance of the 6 million Jews that were killed. Putting it very simply, they were not just killed, they were tortured and killed, families killed. It's the greatest genocide in the history of mankind. Another very important part of Yad Vashem is memorializing those people and honoring those people who saved lives. Second function, which is just as important. The area where we are right now, all the names are listed, I believe 20,000 names, and her name is on plaque number 43. This particular trip that I'm in Israel now is the 15th time that I'm here, but one of my trips before, I came to Yad Vashem. I saw the Garden of the Righteous. It occurred to me that it would be important to have her name added. Righteous Among the Nations is the biggest award that Israel gives to a non-Israeli citizen. Yad Vashem required documentation, took over a year until they approved her as a Righteous Among Nations. About a month later was the ceremony when they received the award.
Megmentő Paulik Ferencné, Szigeti Julianna, megmentettek Weiss Hugo és felesége Irma, valamint gyermekeik Klára, Márta és Zsuzsanna. Weiss Hugo adminisztrátorként dolgozott a Paulik Ferenc és felesége Júlia tulajdonában lévő bőrkabátkészítő műhelyben. A németek 1944 márciusi bevonulását követően az SS parancsnokságot a budapesti műhellyel szomszédos utcában állították fel. Weiss Hugo emlékei szerint a német tisztek azért jöttek a műhelybe, hogy bőrkabátot szerezzenek. Azzal dicsekedtek, hogy milyen könnyű dolguk van Magyarországon, mert a magyar társadalom sok területen együttműködik velük, például leveleket küldenek, amelyekben információkkal szolgálnak zsidók tartózkodási helyéről. A műhely tulajdonos Paulik asszony hívő keresztény lévén teljes mértékben ellenezte az igazságtalan antiszemita üldözést. Egyetértett a Weiss családdal abban, hogy megmentésük érdekében lépéseket kell tenni. Továbbra is alkalmazta a családfőt, annak ellenére, hogy a magyar törvények egyértelműen tiltották a zsidók foglalkoztatását. Később felajánlotta a Weiss családnak, hogy költözzenek családja Kerekegyházán lévő házában, majd gyorsan úgy döntött, inkább a Dohány utcai lakásukba költözteti őket. A Weiss család elhagyta otthonát, és 1944. júniusában beköltözött a kicsi és zsúfolt lakásba, amely bőrraktárként szolgált. Még a várostér súlyos bombázások idején is ott maradtak egészen december végéig. A megmentő ezekben az időkben vállalta a család bújtatásával és gondozásával járó teljes felelősséget. A raktárajtót kívülről zárta be azért, hogy azt a látszatot keltse, hogy a raktár üres és nem tartózkodik ott senki. Titokban tartotta a Weiss család tartózkodási helyét, nem beszélt róluk még családtagjainak sem. Textíliákba és bőrökbe göngyölve vitt nekik ételt. A hátán cipelve szállította, hogy azt a benyomást keltse, hogy csak anyagokat visz a raktárba. Egy napon a házfelügyelő bekérezkedett a raktárba, hogy megnézze azt. A Weiss család a polcok mögött bújt meg. Paulik asszony hirtelen felajánlotta a házfelügyelőnek, hogy látogasson el a műhelybe, azért, hogy egy bőrkabátot varhasson neki ajándékba. A házfelügyelő a nagyvonalú felajánlást hallva boldogan távozott. A szűk búvóhelyen töltött hosszú és eseménytelen napok során a Weiss család az ablakon keresztül szemtanúja volt annak, hogy összegyűjtik és meneteltetik a zsidókat. Utána láttuk, hogy halomban állnak a holttestek a nagy zsinagóga udvarán, anélkül, hogy eltemették volna őket, emlékeztek vissza. 1944. októberében a Weiss családhoz csatlakozott a megmentő két fia, akik nem akartak bevonulni a magyar hadseregbe. 1944. decemberében a heves bombázások következtében a raktár összes ablaka betört. A Weiss család Paulik asszony javaslatára úgy döntött, elhagyja a raktárt. A megmentő házának szomszédságában található pincébe mentek, ahol végül egészen a felszabadulás napjáig maradtak. Weiss Zsuzsanna a tanúvallomásában elmondta, hogy a felszábaduláskor orosz katonák érkeztek magyar katonákat keresve. A megmentő fiai ekkor a pince padlójára feküdtek, bőrökkel betakarták őket, a Weiss lányok pedig a halomra álltak. Amikor az orosz katonák megkérdezték, hogy vannak-e itt zsidók és magyar katonák, a Weiss család feje azt válaszolta, hogy zsidók vannak, de magyar katonák nincsenek. Ezt hallva az orosz katonák elhagyták a pincét. A Weiss család és a Paulik család között a kapcsolat a háborút követően is megmaradt, és mind a mai napig él. 2017. január 9-én Paulik Ferencnét a Yad Vashem intézet a Világ Igaza kitüntetéssel jutalmazta. Paulik Ferencné posztumusz kitüntetését unokái Besenyeiné Paulik Edith és Paulik Walter Krisztina veszik át.
Pár mondatban szeretnénk megköszönni testvérem és az egész családunk nevében, hogy nagymamánkat felterjesztettétek a Világ Igaza kitüntetésre.
In a few words, in the name of my sister and our whole family, I would like to say thank you for your initiating the process in order our grandmother Paulik Ferencné Szigeti Julianna received the Righteous Among the Nations Award. It's wonderful and heart-touching that all your family came to be here in this celebration, that our grandmother did his demonstrating her love towards fellow people and her courage. We can rightly be proud of her. Let this day be a real celebration of life, celebration of friendship and fellowship, and thank you very much.
I'm very grateful for everybody who was supporting us in this endeavor, in this reunion, who donated and cheered us on. It's very special for our family. The end of World War II was 75 years ago. We always hear the expression, never forget, but people just say that. You have to be more serious about it than that. We should never forgive people who were responsible. I know that occasionally they find a 90-year-old man or a 95-year-old man who participated in one of the concentration camps, and people are saying, well, leave him alone, he's 95, he's harmless. But in my opinion, there's no statute of limitations when it comes to crimes of genocide. And by the same way, There's no statute of limitations when it comes to people who rescued others. We should always remember and honor those who saved lives, something that we should always remember.
When you want to only survive, do not feel anything else. How I thinking back now, I think, how can I do it? We don't have any open window, just a very little tiny hole, came a little air in and out. And one morning, a dove fly through the hole and fly around the place and gone. And my mother told me, this is the sign we survive. We left Hungary, we left our home, we left our job. Myself, I sacrificed special because I left my parents, my two sisters, and I never see again my mother. But we came in America and we start to build a new life. And maybe you want to know why we did this, why we sacrificed, why we came to America, because we have life there too. I tell you why. We want our children live easier, happier life. I never ever have hide like we did. And I asking you, don't destroy our dreams. Be educated, follow the Jewish tradition, and be nice and good like you are now. I love you all very much.